You know that little feeling when you see 2% cash back or 5x points on your credit card, and suddenly spending doesn't feel like spending anymore? It feels like you're winning, like every swipe is giving you something back. But here's the uncomfortable part most people never realize. That feeling, it's not a reward system. It's a behavior system, and it's quietly shaping how you spend money every single day. Because your credit card isn't just tracking purchases, it's training them. Think about the last time you bought something with points in mind. Maybe it wasn't even something you needed, but the thought popped up, if I buy this now, I'll get rewards. And just like that, the decision feels lighter, almost justified. But let's slow that down for a second, because something strange happens when rewards enter the picture. Your brain stops processing money as a loss. It starts processing it as a game. You're no longer thinking, do I need this? You're thinking, how many points will I get? And that tiny shift is where everything changes. I started noticing this pattern in small moments. You open an app, and instead of looking at your balance first, you look at your points. Not because they matter more, but because they feel more satisfying. Points go up, numbers feel like progress, but your actual money, that part doesn't feel as real. And this is where credit card systems become really interesting, because nothing is actually being given to you for free. The system is designed so that every reward is tied to increased spending behavior. Let me explain it in a simple way. When you pay with cash, your brain registers a loss instantly. You feel it. When you pay with a card, that pain is already reduced. But when rewards enter the picture, that pain doesn't just reduce, it gets replaced by excitement. And now you're not just spending, you're participating. That's the real shift. And it's subtle enough that most people never notice it. You might think, I'm just using benefits that are already there. But here's the part nobody says out loud. Those benefits only matter if you spend more often or spend slightly more than you planned. That's where the system quietly balances itself, because the reward isn't coming from nowhere, it's coming from your behavior. And once you see that, you start noticing something else. People don't just choose credit cards based on interest rates or fees. They choose them based on how good it feels to use them. The color of the card, the animation in the app, the way points flash after a purchase. Even the word reward itself changes the emotional tone. It stops feeling like borrowing money. It starts feeling like earning something. And that's where the loop closes. Spend, reward, satisfaction, repeat. But there's another layer most people miss. Credit card systems don't just reward spending, they reward frequency. Small purchases, repeated swipes, coffee here, delivery there, subscription there. Each one feels harmless. Each one earns a tiny reward, but together they create something bigger, a spending habit that feels productive, even when it's not. And that's the part that really gets you, because your brain starts linking spending with progress, not loss, not debt, progress. And once that happens, it becomes harder to step back, because stopping feels like missing out on points, on cash back, on free money. But here's the contradiction. If it was truly free, it wouldn't depend on you spending more to access it. There's also something even more interesting happening behind the scenes. The system doesn't need you to overspend dramatically. It just needs you to stop noticing small increases, a few extra dollars here, a slightly more expensive option there, a why not purchase. Nothing big, nothing alarming, just enough to keep the cycle alive. And over time, your baseline changes. What used to feel expensive starts feeling normal, and what used to feel normal starts feeling cheap. That's how slowly it shifts, not through one big decision, but through hundreds of small ones that felt justified in the moment. And over time, those small decisions don't just affect your wallet, they reshape your instincts. You begin to trust the feeling of reward more than your actual judgment. And that's when spending stops being a choice and starts becoming a reflex. So what do you do with this? Not panic, not cancel your card. That's not the point. The point is noticing the pattern while it's happening. Because once you start seeing how rewards change your decisions, you don't look at them the same way again. You pause longer, you question faster, you separate need from reward logic. And that small gap, that moment of awareness, is where control comes back. Not because the system changed, but because your reaction did. And that's the real trick here. It was never about points. It was about behavior. See you soon.